Welcome to Permission to Shine, the space where high-achieving women like you come to peel back the layers, overcome what's been holding you back, and rise into your most authentic, powerful self. I'm your host, Sharice Bisram, inner power activation leader and intuitive healer, and a woman who knows what it means to look like she's thriving on the outside, also while feeling disconnected on the inside. This podcast is here to remind you, you didn't come here to just perform, you came here to lead with your soul. Your obstacles, they're invitations to expand. And your power, it was never outside of you. It's been waiting within you all along. Each week we'll dive into honest conversations, healing insight and soul-led strategies to help you stop self-sabotaging, reclaim your light and lead your life, your business and your relationships from deep-rooted truth. So if you're ready to rise with grace, softness and fire, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, we are back after a break. If you've been listening to time, if you haven't been, then obviously this is just episode 101. But I'm excited to be back because I've had some time off to reset, recalibrate. And the point where I'm releasing this episode, if you're listening to time, is at the halfway mark of 2025. And gosh, how turbulent 2025 has been for me. I'm really excited to be at this tipping point, and I don't know about anyone else, if you felt that stagnation or heaviness or just felt like you've been going uphill in the beginning of the year, sort of the first half of the year. I just want you to know that you're not the only one. And there's been points in this year where I didn't know what I was going to do, if I was going to make it out, but the unwavering belief in myself and the trust, and also having spaces like the podcast to keep me accountable, has been one of the real big support systems, I think, even for myself. So, I'm sharing all of this because I want you to know that not everyone has it all figured out. Not everyone is living an abundant, overly successful life. Sometimes periods of our lives just look like surviving, but it's not a place of struggle. It's a place of accepting that in order to expand and reach where you want to go, there will be some resistance. One, you might be the first person in your life, in your family, in your lineage to do the thing that you're doing. Two, when you are stretching outside of your comfort zone, it's exactly what it says on the tin. It ain't comfortable, right? It's not. And then thirdly, when you are climbing to reach the goal that you set for yourself or the manifestation, it does require you to climb. And in climbing, you require a different set of tools to the mountain that you've climbed before, right? So it does feel unsteady. It does feel like at any moment you might grab a dud rock and you could fall again, but you won't, because the other hand is holding on, right? And then you trust in yourself and you keep moving forward. And I wanted to come in and come back round in the first episode of this new season to let you know that struggle is part of the journey. And I always talk about falling forwards, right? And I listened to a really incredible, she is like $100 million business coach, expert, spiritual practitioner, Melanie Ann Layer. And she was talking about how you fall upwards, because when you reach certain spaces, and especially, and I was listening to a TikTok about this today, which feels so prevalent, is the transition phase. She was talking about a sunset because it's the middle of day and night, right? And she didn't used to like sunsets because she liked day and she liked nights, but not the middle bit. I love a sunset, by the way. This is not me. I'm not talking in rhetorical spaces. I'm literally talking about this woman. But she was saying about how the in-between is just uncomfortable, right? The old story you've been telling yourself is dying out. The new one is coming forward. But in that in-between space, you have to hold that vibration, right? That knowing that what is coming forward and coming through is worth the wait. And if you're anything like me, which I'm guessing you might be to some extent, you're impatient. We want it yesterday, don't we? You know, we're working hard. We've been going through these trials and tribulations. We've been through the fire over and over again. I'm like, I'm fire retardant. You know, universe, I'm fire retardant. Call me an extinguisher because, I'm going to make it through. It doesn't make it any easier though, does it? And I think that I feel like I've just come in. I've just come in hard, haven't I, to you? But I feel like there's a lot I need to say. But I'm just saying all of this to say that it is uncomfortable growth, expansion, and all of the things in between. And so today, I wanted to provide not only that normalization of the fact that it is uncomfortable, it is part of life that we're going to go through these series of things, but to also offer you some prompts and tell you kind of where I've been and how I've moved through some of this stuff to give you some clarity, some guidance, and just a shoulder to cry on and to hold space for you, really, and to just let you know that it's okay that if the first half of the year didn't go the way you wanted it to. And I think that on that, we set such big goals, aspirations, and dreams for ourselves. And when we don't reach it by the time that we thought we would, we're disappointed, we're upset, and the key part of that is that's the expectation that we've set for ourselves because we set the time limit, we set the time frame, but the universe doesn't work on our time, right? And a perfect way to show you this is by, using the analogy of dating. So say for example you're single, right? And you've been on the dating apps and you've been going to all of these dates back to back to back to back to back, and not not one of the people are really what you want, right? That you meet the same type of guy, the same one that isn't good for you, and you're about to give up, but then a part of you thinks, should I just settle? Yeah, that predicament. But if you stopped hyper fixating on the dating app and you just paid attention to the guy at your gym, for example, that always tries to smile at you, but your head's down and your headphones are on, you're missing that might be your guy, right? So in this, like when we're manifesting hard and we're pushing forward for everything that we want, sometimes we have to take our foot off of the gas to be able to see everything around us. And not only that, how far we've come and what we've achieved. And I speak about that a lot because as highly ambitious women, it's so easy to hyperfixate forward. And especially if you have ADHD or you think you have ADHD, which a lot of us are realizing now that that is part of it, right? Um, we can't help it. And also, really and truly, it's a trauma response. And I'm not saying that to call out and to say you have trauma, but everyone has experienced trauma to some extent, and that's a big part of my work. But I'm saying this to say that it isn't your fault, but at the same time, it is our way of clinging to control because we want to control something in that situation, i.e., you want to find someone, you want to meet someone. So you feel like by going on the dating app, you're putting the power back into your own hands. When actually, if you just remained present, you might find that the guy at the gym is the guy, or the man in the coffee shop, the manager of the coffee shop that you always go to is the guy, but you're not paying attention. And this is where we get to call our power back to ourselves, come back into our body, and be present in the moment. And it's so difficult, I know and I understand, but hopefully today, giving you some prompts that you can focus on for the rest of, well, whenever you're listening to this, but it will give you clarity for the next 6 months of what the vibration is you want to hold and what it is that you want to feel like you've received, achieved at this point. Hopefully, that's like paving a new way, turning over the page and starting a new chapter in 2025, right? So, I hope I didn't go too much off on a tangent then. I feel like I have a way of coming back round again, so I hope that makes sense. I want you to look at And if you haven't got a pen and paper now, you can mentally answer these questions, but I would love for you to write it down on pen and paper because if obviously this is the first time you're listening to this, there's a contractual agreement that happens with yourself and the universe when you write things down. So not only is it going to release out the overthinking and the overwhelm, it's also going to manifest the things that you do want and bring them forward. You're creating that contract with the universe. Like I'm calling in, I'm receiving the rest of 2025 will feel like, it's these things that we're declaring to the universe and we're signing it with pen and paper. So the first thing I want you to think about, and these are going to be a little bit uncomfortable, but it's good. Okay. So, what went well for the first part of 2025 in your routines? So, that's, um, setting a morning routine or an evening routine. Maybe it's going to the gym. Maybe it's your meals. Like, what went well with your routines? What went well in your job or your business? And then what went well in your relationships? So again, like if you started to set boundaries with people and you've been really firm on that, really good. Maybe you've met some new people as a result of trying that new class and you know sticking to it, and therefore you've met good friends that have the same boundaries that align. What does that look like for you? And it could also be in your appearance as well, like if you were thinking that you want to try a new makeup look, for example. I don't know. I'm just giving you an example. So once you've done that, I want you to go back and see what didn't go well there. Okay. Now, this is not to shame yourself, it's for us to be able to take accountability, right? So, in the same kind of piece of paper, underneath, what didn't go well? So, with your routine, maybe it's that you said to yourself you weren't going to doom scroll every night, but you have been, therefore, you've not been sleeping as well as you would have done. That's one of them, right? Could be more. It could be that you've been binge eating because you've been stressed because some unfortunate things have happened this year, which we can't help, right? But we know we shouldn't be doing that, and we did it anyway. But we're taking accountability and we're saying, look, I noticed that I did that. I'm going to change that. And then also in your relationships as well, um, did you not set the boundary? Did you go back to the ex? Come on, sis, tell me about that. Yeah, it happens. It happens to the best of us, and it's okay. But we did it, we fell back. How can we come forward, right? So, again, in the same three categories, we're looking at what did go well, what didn't go so well, and that's okay. I then want you to think about what was the general state of your being in the first half of 2025. So it could be that you notice that predominantly you were feeling fine, okay, quite neutral. Neutral is a very good place to be. You don't need to feel happy 100% of the time. That's not what I'm saying. So if you felt neutral most of the time, good. That's a good place to be. However, if you notice that you're most of the time neutral, but I would say at least once a day you had a spike of anxiety, make note of that. And then also, if you want to, what was triggering that anxiety? For example, it could be like money worries. Like every time you had to pay a bill, you felt that spike of anxiety, or every time you got a text from the guy that you're dating, you had a sense of anxiety, like these are the little moments that we want to be really clear on. But equally, it could be that, do you know what? Most of 2025 so far, I felt really happy. I felt really content with where I'm at, my life and my business. And yeah, I'm really glad and happy because there's been a time in my life that I haven't felt that. What does that look like for you? And if it's none of the above and you've actually felt really stressed, really sad, really torn, that's okay as well, right? There's no right or wrong answer to this. This is just you navigating and seeing, being self-aware, right, of what is working, what isn't, what do we want to feel, what do we don't want to feel, right? And then in regards to 2025 so far, have there been any achievements? So it could be you got an award or you got promotion, And then also look at the rewards in terms of physical ones for like I said, work and job and um being seen as a leader in your field, whatever that looks like to you, but then also emotional ones. You know, like for example, if I'm talking about you spent most of your life anxious, but then you've noticed that actually most of the day you're quite happy, that is a win, right? That isn't a win. That's something to celebrate. That is a win, not isn't a win. I feel like when I said it really quick together, it felt like it sounded it isn't. I meant it is. So yeah, what do the wins look like for you that you've had so far in 2025? And then what has happened this year so far that you don't want to take forward into the rest of the year? So it could be you've carried a lot of worry, like we said. It could be that you've had some financial situations happen and you don't want to carry that forward into 2025. So what do you need to do in order to change that for the rest of the year? You know, again, relationships, it could be that you did give that crusty ex a second chance, and actually you're realizing now that although he said he changed, he ain't, you know, and I'm laughing when I say that because we've all been there, right? So, what do we not want to take forward into that second part of 2025? And once you have done that, you are going to obviously I'm assuming that you're pausing and writing this down at the same like writing this in between because if you write that quickly, you are a genius because I talk really fast, I know. And now the second half, I want us to anchor in to a different feeling. And I'm going to guide you through a visualization. So if you're listening to this while you're driving, like I said, and you're listening, answering the questions as you're kind of talking and thinking about it, obviously don't close your eyes. But if you are in a position where you can just sit down and chill, I mean, this is going to be a short episode. So I hope that you do listen to this again if you want to answer the questions. I feel like you should, just saying. But yeah, please find a comfortable space if you're not already. And I'm just going to take you for a little mini visualization because these are like the thing that my clients absolutely love. So I'm just going to take you through a little short one just to kind of get some clarity. Yeah. So eyes are closed. We're just going to focus on our breath. And we're not trying to change it. We're just being aware. The breath coming in and out of our body. We're going to start to breathe a bit deeper now, feeling our belly filling up with air into our chest. And then as it releases, it goes through the chest and out the belly. Just thinking about our breath getting deeper. And we feel safer in our bodies. This is your home. This is where you belong. And so now, feeling peaceful and relaxed, you're going to see in your mind yourself waking up on New Year's Day. You're getting out of bed and you're excited. What is the first thing that comes into your mind? What's the first thing you're grateful for? What you've achieved? Maybe it's rolling over and seeing the person next to you. Maybe it's your kids running and screaming because they've had such a great Christmas and New Year's celebration last night that they're just happy to be here and, you know, excited. Maybe you put your hand on your belly and you're pregnant, if that's what you want, of course. And then you put your feet on the ground, you take a big stretch, and you're just thankful for your body and the energy and the life that you're in. And you walk over to the wall and you see your calendar and you're looking back at December and going back to November, October, September, August, July. What did you achieve in that time? What were the key moments that made the difference? Was it having the holiday that you'd planned for? Was it the promotion at work or the success in your business? Did you finally write that book? launch that podcast? What was that for you? And so you walk over to the mirror and you see yourself full length. And you're admiring yourself, your body, your hair, your silky pajamas. And you look at yourself in the eye and you say, we did it. And you give yourself a little imaginary high five because that releases endorphins and we do that anyway. You're just taking a deep breath here. And you're thinking back to all of the beautiful moments that you've had over the past 6 months and excited for what you are going to create in the next 6 months. You just put your hand on your heart and you breathe into this energy. Allow it to anchor in through your body and absorb through every cell of your being. You're going to start thinking about your breath again. You're taking it in deeper, bringing your energy into your body from your visualization. On your inhale and on your exhale, think about being firmly where you are, bums on your seats and feet on the ground. On your inhale, you anchor that feeling that you had, that visualization, into your body. When you're ready, I want you to open your eyes. I want you to write down what you saw, how you felt, what the calendar was filled with, who you woke up next to, if you woke up next to anyone. How did it feel in your body to have achieved the things that you wanted to? What were the goals that you perhaps set for yourself for those 6 months that you got to achieve? And most importantly, what is the way that you want to feel for 2026? Sorry, for 2025. What's the dominant feeling that you want to feel every single day? Is it contentment? Is it peace? Is it excitement? Is it neutrality? Maybe you just want to wake up and just feel completely neutral and ready for whatever the life leads to in that day. I mean, life force energy by that. Because that's really what I want your mantra to be. And my word for 2020, the rest of 2025, which I did for myself today, was to trust that everything is working. Because I think that for high achieving women, it's so easy to fall back into that performance element, that overachieving element, when actually, when we can surrender and hand over to the universe and say, I trust you. I trust myself that everything I've been building and working towards is working. That's where the magic is. And that's what I want you to feel for yourself. So, what is the one mantra that you can say to yourself every day, where you can write it maybe on a post-it note, stick it up somewhere so you can see it? What does that look and feel like for you? And this is absolutely yours. Now, with that being said, it's so easy to fall off of the things that we say and set for ourselves. And it's so easy to, put it off or say, I'll do it another day, or today was a bad day, so I'm going to, revert back to scrolling because that gives me a little endorphin hit. I don't want that for you. Okay. Like, yes, it's okay to fall back. Yes, it's okay to, do something for comfort every now and again. But really and truly, like, you achieving everything you want to and feeling the way you deserve to feel for the rest of the year is about falling forward, right? It's feeling the fear and doing it anyway. It's accepting the life comes with obstacles. How are you going to move forward through them, right? And that's not forcing, that's not pushing, but how are you going to move with it? And I have the beautiful inner power portal for that, and it's a brand new space. And I'm really excited about it because it gives you the opportunity to not only be in a space with other women that are ambitious, that are soul led, that are, achieving and creating their dreams and realities in their own lives, navigating it their way. And you just get to connect with other women. So I'm going to be holding it's a virtual session. Everything's online. So you can join. We can obviously talk about how we're feeling in a more of a sister circle way. And again, if you don't feel comfortable to share, you don't have to. And then we'll kind of move through again a deeper visualization practice where we get to kind of just realign our energy, right? And there'll be some more journal prompts and things like that, and we get to discuss it. That happens once a month. And then the second part of that, second like live session online, is the embodiment piece. So the soul alchemy movement workshops that I do, everyone loves them because I tie in my visualization practice with the somatic movement, with dance. And it's about releasing out what no longer serves you through the body, calling in the good energy that we want to have and feel in our bodies, and cementing it in with like a really sassy routine. And that for me is the full journey of everything I do in movement form, right? It's releasing what no longer serves you so you can stand in your rooted empowerment, right? That is just £33 a month. So to have those 2 live sessions plus all of the recordings from everything that I do will go in there. There's already some live activations, there's already some moon stuff in there, and I will be connecting these sessions with the moon so you'll know what to do to manifest on the new moon and to release on the full moon. So it's a really, really beautiful space for you to come in and to just feel held. And if you're feeling like a group space isn't for you at the moment, which is absolutely okay, I do offer one-to-one sessions. And for the woman that's listening to this thinking, I've been forcing my whole life, I've been proving my whole life, and I'm fed up and I feel broken and I can't carry the weight of the world anymore, then I invite you into booking a free call with me. You can drop me a DM and we can have a discussion about what that looks like for you, because I have 6 months container or 12 months, and or if you just need a little burst of like a 90-minute session with me, that's guaranteed to kind of shift you out of where you're at right now into feeling like the embodied leader you deserve to be, right? And also, I do have a specific session for leaders and for women that are ready to own their voice. So that feels also in alignment for you at this moment in time. Again, drop me a DM. That's called Voice of a Leader, that one. But you just deserve to be seen, held, and understood. And I think for so long, we have neglected ourselves of that community, of feeling held, of being held, and feeling like we've got to do it all on our own. And you don't. You don't need to do it all on your own. I'm here to help. I'm here to support you. And if for now that just looks like me talking to you on a podcast, that is absolutely okay too. But I just want to wish you a really beautiful rest of your 2025. The podcast is back, so I'll be doing live sessions well, it's not live, is it? It's recorded sessions every week, unless I have another little break, which I might do. But there's 100 episodes to go back to if you want to. And I've got some really cool guests coming up. So yay, wishing you the most amazing day, week, month. I hope you do those journal prompts that I gave you today and the visualization you can come back to whenever you want to. And again, in the portal, all of my meditations, all of my activations, all of my movement sessions are all in there. So I'd love to see you there. Send you lots of love, and I'll see you next week. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Please do comment as well what you feel like you've learned from the episode. It's really helpful. And if you can rate it on a 5-star review, I would be so grateful, because that just means that more women get access to these teachings within the episodes. And also, who would you like to be on the show? DM me and let me know. And please do share with a friend that you know needs to hear what's in this episode today. I would also love to invite you into my Inner Power portal, because that is the space where all of my meditations are, all of my activations, and I host 2 live sessions per month that do include movement and my spiritual downloads and all the beautiful things that I offer all in one space. Plus you get to ask me any questions that you have. So I'd love to see you in there. Have a great week.